Shrinking water bodies, dangerously low levels of groundwater, parched fields, agrarian economy in distress, deficit monsoons, year after year, providing no respite. Taps run dry as more than 43% of the country reels under a severe drought. Almost 10 crore people across the country stare at a pan-India water crisis. One that shows no signs of easing anytime soon. A crisis that threatens to get worse with each passing year. An emergency of unseen proportion that calls for action now.
Things are very grim right now. So let's be very clear. Water is a tragedy of our own making. We are not water insecure because God has not given us water. We are water insecure because we are not practicing frugality, wisdom of water.
See, if you look at the way India has grown over several decades, a lot of our focus has been on infrastructure development, a lot of our focus has been on food security, and in this entire process of a new India, a rich India, a progressive India, a developed India, what we've actually looked at or what we've ended up doing is we've created an ecological crisis in the country. So vis-a-vis, we perhaps have a food security, we perhaps have a highway security and a Mars security, but we don't have water security at all.
The crisis has been brewing for a while. Not just climate experts and environmentalists, but even the government's own policy think tank, the Niti Aayog, had forecast the imminent water shortage. In a report released in June 2018, Niti Aayog claimed 21 major cities, including the capital New Delhi, will run out of groundwater by 2020. Some claimed it had a doomsday flair to its predictions. It grabbed some headlines but never saw the government swing into action. A year later, Chennai came dangerously close to day zero.
If we look at the entire drought situation, if 42% of our country actually has drought, which means there's no water or there's poor management of water. So I think one thing that Niti Aayog brings forth is an urgency in this situation.
Fact is, cities will not run out of water that quickly because cities have the political muscle to be able to pull water from wherever water is. That's why they won't run out of water. If there is a water crisis in Delhi, I can assure you, water will be pulled out from everywhere where there is water and brought to the cities. That's what's happening. Today, you are getting more and more violence over water. It's not because of anything else. You're getting the violence because rural areas, agriculture has been the maximum user of water. We remain a predominantly rural country and we are getting more and more water driven to cities. And there is an urban water crisis because cities are today water flatulent, we are water wasteful, we are pulling water from surrounding areas, we are degrading the water that we are discharging. Look at Delhi, we are pulling in massive amounts of water, and in the place where we are seated today, what I call Lutyens Delhi, or Lutyens Delhi as you would call it, the per capita utilization of water here is 460 liters per capita per day. That is higher than any city of the world. This is absolutely criminal. I cannot use another word for it. So that water use of Delhi's rich, powerful has to be actually brought down to saying, you have land endowment, you use your groundwater, you recharge, and your water supply should be absolutely minimal so that the water can be supplied to areas where the groundwater is not available.
So what is the problem? Is it just a problem of deficit rain and weather anomalies, like the government agencies claim, or does the problem run deeper?
We've actually known that this is going to happen. We've actually seen this crisis year after year. Last year we had the Shimla crisis and the Nainital crisis when there was no water there. The situation of drought or agrarian distress or reservoirs running out of water, or for that matter frothing and burning lakes of Bengaluru. All this information has been in public domain for long enough. Has the government done anything about it? We don't look at our recharge stations, be it the aquifers or be it the catchment area or be it the floodplains. We don't take them seriously. We have very, very consciously, proactively encroached upon them. So encroachment of the water bodies, building malls and SEZs and highways and flyovers and airports on these water bodies, cutting down of forest, bad irrigation policy, and no recycling and no rainwater harvesting. These are the main reasons why we are in this mess today.
Groundwater, which makes up 40% of the country's water supply, has been steadily depleting in India. But other sources are also running dry. The Central Water Commission declared that almost 2/3 of India's reservoirs are running below normal water levels.
The mega water crisis is really about the everyday transfer of water from the poorer classes to the more privileged classes, from the marginalized to the much better off. These happen every day. These are a backdoor privatization of water. One, transfer of water from agriculture to industry. Sterlite was getting 1,000 liters of water for 10 rupees. The women in the village around Sterlite have to walk huge distances, buy and take plastic pots and paid same 10 rupees to get 25 liters of water. The second transfer is from within agriculture, food crop to cash crop. Sugarcane takes 18 million to 20 million liters of water per acre. You know how many acres of bajra or jowar you could grow in that? 10, 12 acres maybe. By all means grow sugarcane, but growing it on such a massive scale in perpetually drought prone areas is as sensible as trying to grow coffee and pepper in the Arctic. 68% of Maharashtra's irrigation water is utilized by 4% of farmers. So what about those other farmers? What choices do they have? The third transfer of water is from the rural to the urban. RTIs have shown us for the last few years that urban settlements, cities, towns in Maharashtra get 400% more drinking water than rural Maharashtra. Now, are villagers somehow less thirsty?
The National Capital Region once boasted of several water reservoirs that helped maintain the groundwater level, despite expanding concretization of the city. However, the water bodies are now on the brink of extinction. India Today's ground check revealed a disturbing reality. Budkal Lake, once a popular tourist spot in Faridabad, now looks like a ghost town. For years, this barren patch of land has not seen a single drop of water. The Aravalis surrounding this dead water reservoir are also shrinking due to loss of flora and fauna.
पहले खूब भरा रहता था, खूब कश्ती उस्ती घूमती थी, अब 10-12 साल से पानी बिल्कुल खत्म हो गया.
We show you how grave the situation is. Large-scale constructions, illegal mining, quarrying disturbed the pathway of water to an extent that natural recharge for aquifers have been damaged. Today, one would have to dig at least 150 to 200 feet below the surface to locate water in this region. Just a few kilometers away, Surajkund Lake, another landmark tourist spot built in the 10th century to store water, lies barren. Other lakes around Delhi have faced fates worse than just drying up.
This particular land used to be a dam and a lake, a beautiful lake at one point of time, which is called the Satpura Lake. We are right now in Malviya Nagar area of the national capital, and the land where we are standing right now, where you can see the remains of certain monuments and just trees and a dried up land, used to be a source of water.
Some have been turned into garbage dumps.
This used to be a majestic Bhalaswa lake, the horseshoe lake in shape of a horseshoe. Many years ago, when the Yamuna river changed its course, it created a loop around this area, making it one of the most gigantic natural wetland. And if you take a look around you today, it has become a dumping ground for garbage. In fact, we also see the Bhalaswa landfill site very close to it, urbanization all around it, and the kind of effluents that are thrown in this particular water is what is leading to its slow and painful death.
Others have seen their catchment areas shrink due to unfettered encroachments and neglect. Other major Indian cities like Chennai have also seen their lakes and reservoirs shrink dramatically over the years, to disastrous effect.
We must understand that we are beginning to see the beginnings of climate change. Now, what does climate change mean in the context of India? Is that you will get more variable rain, you will get more rain, but in fewer number of rainy days. So the extreme rain that you saw in Mumbai this last few days is what you will get more in the future, which means that unless you learn how to harvest the rain, hold it, capture the rain, and use it in the dry periods, you will get into a situation where you have got drought at the time of flood, flood at the time of drought. Now that's the situation we are in today.
When you gave everyone subsidy to buy a tube well and permission to really have that tube well. And that's what happened. India has, around 2 crore tube wells in total. And that meant that you could actually, any farmer could extract as much water as he or she could. And that's what has led to Punjab and Haryana and many other parts of our country. The groundwater table has completely disappeared in that sense. In urban areas, of course, we have actually paved over water recharge stations. So we have built schools and hospitals and military installations and government buildings and also sometimes private buildings.
In a country which has failed to replenish its groundwater adequately, the rivers in India are not in a good state either. The Ganga, which is considered a lifeline for millions who live and work along its banks, which enjoys the patronage of devotees and politicians alike, is struggling to breathe. Quite literally, samples have shown low oxygen levels in the water near cities like Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, making the water unfit to support any form of life.
गंगा बेसिन में गंगा और उसकी सहायक नदियों ने हजारों वेटलैंड्स क्रिएट किए थे। ताल तलैया, झील, मन, वन कई नाम से जानते हैं। वो बाढ़ के पानी को रोकता था बरसात में, फिर वो पानी को फिल्टर करके ग्राउंड वाटर को रिचार्ज करता था। फरवरी के मार्च के महीने में गंगा में पानी का सोर्स रह जाता है ग्राउंड वाटर, क्योंकि ना इस समय वर्षा होती है और ना बर्फ़ पिघलता है हिमालय का। पानी आता कहाँ से है? वो पानी आता है केवल ग्राउंड वाटर से। लेकिन अब ग्राउंड वाटर भी रिचार्ज नहीं हो पा रहा है, क्योंकि वेटलैंड्स को भी हमने भर दिया, चाहे तो शहर बना दिए, खेत बना दिए, इंडस्ट्री लगा दिए, जो किए, वेटलैंड ख़त्म होते जा रहे हैं। नतीजा क्या है? और मैक्सिमम हम ग्राउंड वाटर का यूज कर रहे हैं खेती के लिए, इरिगेशन के लिए, चूँकि समर फार्मिंग करना पड़ रहा है। इतनी बड़ी आबादी को खिलाना है तो हमें गर्मी में भी खेती करना पड़ रहा है। उस खेती के लिए वाटर इंटेंसिव हमारे सारे खेती हो रहे हैं, चाहे वो हम धान की बात करें, गेहूं की बात करें, प्याज की बात करें, आलू की बात करें, सब्जियों की बात करें। पानी बहुत चाहिए इसमें, वो सारे पानी हम ग्राउंड वाटर से निकाल रहे हैं। वो पानी फिर गंगा में जो आता था सोई से, जिसको सिप करके वो नहीं आ रहा है। तो गंगा में पानी घटता चला जा रहा है, पानी का इस्तेमाल ज़्यादा बढ़ा दिया और हमने पानी के स्रोतों को बंद किया।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 2019 election campaign promise to provide piped water to every rural home by 2024 looks difficult to accomplish.
Ensuring India's water security and providing access to safe and adequate drinking water to all Indians is a priority for this government. A major step in this direction has been constitution of the Jal Shakti Mantralaya. This new Mantralaya will look at the management of our water resources and water supply in an integrated and holistic manner, and will work with states to ensure Har Ghar Jal. Har Ghar Jal to all rural households by 2024 under the Jal Jeevan mission.
Even though the PM has created the Ministry of Jal Shakti to oversee water resource management, it is yet to come up with an actionable plan to replenish groundwater sources and initiate policies that work towards sustainable water management.
As if we didn't have enough ministries and enough government institutions already. We have a ministry called Jal Shakti, which says that there will be Jal in every null. The issue is not about, we are not missing the null here. It's not an infrastructure problem that India is facing. It's the Jal problem. It's the deficiency of Jal that we are actually talking about, that our Jal is either contaminated or has disappeared, and all of this has disappeared because of government's action or inaction. And in no conversation that we have had in the last 2 weeks, the government has taken any responsibility, any accountability of this problem, that they have created this problem.
Instead, water tankers have become reality of the day, while traditional sources of water conservation continue to be neglected.
Ancestors, they were very wise to identify these sites where they saw that water is deposited there, and they, over a period of time, they constructed very beautiful structures made of stones. And in those bodies, water was collected, rainwater was collected, which was later used by people as well as animals. It was used for drinking purposes also.
In the desert state of Rajasthan, the use of well-recharged technique is helping some farmers channelize the rainwater that gets accumulated in fields.
ठहरे हुए पानी को जो कि खेत में रहता है, उस पानी को हम एक पिट बनाते हैं, एक गड्ढा बनाते हैं, जिसमें हम उस पानी को इकट्ठा करते हैं और अंडरग्राउंड पाइपलाइन के द्वारा हम उसको कुएं से हम जोड़ देते हैं। तो जब भी बरसात होती है तो खेत के भरे हुए पानी, खेत का भरा हुआ पानी उस गड्ढे में आता है, और वहाँ पे नेचुरल फ़िल्टर हम ईंट और कंकड़ डाल के उसको फ़िल्टर करते हैं, और उसको अंडरग्राउंड पाइपलाइन के सहारे हम उसको कुएँ में डालते हैं। तो कुआँ का जो वाटर लेवल है 2-3 साल में वो बढ़ जाता है, कुआँ रिचार्ज कर लेता है पानी को।
The use of the concept of well water recharge has actually been helping several farmers in the rural parts of Rajasthan. If implemented properly and on a large scale, it can help in augmenting groundwater and in doing away with water woes of the people of desert state.
Across the country, we have seen villages turning around their water security by doing water management, by protecting their catchments, their lakes and ponds, doing budgeting of the water so that they can actually make sure that they don't use too much water. That's what we need to do in urban India. We can do rainwater harvesting. We must harvest the water in every house of India. Every institution, every land of India must harvest its water.
When Chennai's taps ran dry, it made headlines across the world. This came just 4 years after devastating floods wreaked havoc across the city. Now stories of serpentine queues and street fights over precious amount of water goes viral on social media. but also in Chennai, where people are seen yearning for a drop of water. There are also others, a minority no doubt, but still very much there, those who are setting life goals on water conservation. At Sabari Terrace, an apartment complex located along Chennai's IT corridor, residents use only rainwater for 3 months a year. This residential complex has no piped water supply, and this is the case with most apartment complexes in the area. Buying water tankers was a routine affair for them even before the city went dry. But one day, looking at the economical and environmental aspect, the members of this housing complex decided that enough was enough, and now they had to take a new path forward.
The desperate situation that OMR has been in for the last 10 years is that we have to buy water every single day. So we said, if it rains today, why don't we use that water today? So that's what we did. So we piped, there were existing pipes, so we made some valves, we changed a few layouts and stuff, and we tapped the water directly into our sumps. So that way, if it rains now, we collect the water now, and a couple of hours, maybe tomorrow, you're using this water.
Rainwater, everybody knows, is pure. So while the tanker waters that we get is TDS is about 600 to 1000, the rainwater TDS is 30 to 60. That is the level of purity you get from rainwater.
1 hour of good rainfall can allow them to collect nearly 25,000 litres of water. And surprisingly, this housing complex in OMR has not brought a single private tanker during this season when Chennai is suffering from very intense water scarcity, and everybody has been requesting the government as well as private runners to provide 1 tanker of water.
The rainwater harvesting system in this housing complex was set up by Rain Center, a Chennai-based NGO, run by someone who has been called Chennai's Rain Man for his efforts at rainwater harvesting.
The citizens requesting me to come and visit their premises and give them proper advice as to how to harvest. So I'm seeing a change in their mindset. In 2003, they did it because the government wanted them to do it. Now they are doing it because they want to do it. It's for their own use.
Even though the former Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha made rainwater harvesting mandatory in 2001, the ground reality is that when it comes to implementation, the effect is minimal. In the wake of the latest water crisis, experts have once again pointed out at the lack of political will to find long-term solutions for India's water shortage, a promise that is often used to win votes but seldom delivered.
We've always, in the last several decades, we've actually looked at this knee-jerk infrastructure solution to the water crisis. We've not tried to mimic the natural hydrological methods of solving this. Imagine Mumbai got so much rain and still it has drought and it has flood. So we are in a new climate crisis era, and that adaptation means proactive governance and a different model of governance rather than a Gadkari model of governance, which is only about the speed at which we are building the roads, is what is a success story. And success story of Javadekar is not about environment protection, but is about environmental clearance. He says that I'm the best environment minister because I gave clearance to cut forest and to mining projects and to other river linking projects faster than any other minister in the history of our country. So when your focus is on cement and industry and clearance, you have signed up for this water crisis.
But the good news, and that's what I want to highlight, is that this does not have to be. Water is a renewable resource. Water is a replenishable resource. Also remember that in urban India and in industrial India, where we use water, we do not consume the water. We use the water and we excrete it out. It comes out in the form of sewage. 80% of the water that comes into our houses leaves it in the form of sewage. So the ability to clean that water, to be able to recycle that sewage and turn sewage into water is what will make us also a water secure country. So we can get water secure, but it is linked to water wisdom. How water wise we are will make us water secure.